Hello again, and it's time for another project. Today we're going to do this snake, which was leftover scrap wood from a previous project. So you want to see how we cut that out, go and watch my last video. This was the snake that came out of it, and he fitted in there, obviously. And this was the scrap wood that was left over and would normally be thrown away. So the idea is to use this. We're going to put some resin in there, put it in from the back, just enough so it leaves a screening over that. Once it's nicely set with different colours in, the idea is to incorporate some kind of battery lights into there. LED lights we'll put into there, cut out a little box section for the battery pack to go into. And then we'll put a board over there. And hopefully, when we switch them on, the lights will come through the resin and basically light up our nice big snake on the backing wood, like so. Just before we get to that stage, I just want to lower the background just a little bit, just so the snake pops up slightly. Don't have to be too deep, maybe 1/4 of an inch if that. And for that, I'm going to use these CNC bits. Those that have seen my previous videos, I use it all. Oops, excuse me, I've lost that one. I use these all the time. They come in different degrees. These are 30s today. And what we'll do, we'll set our depth and literally just skim around this hand-drawn line that I've done. You just see it there. Literally went around with a pencil. And then once that's all done out, we'll use one of these big straight flush bits just to lower that down. And then we'll put our transparent book covering over that, glue it on with some resin, let it set overnight, and like I just said, we'll turn it over, we'll pour some nice resin into there, maybe some multicolours. It won't be too thick, 3mm maybe, just enough to give a casing on there, and we'll pop our lights in the back and we'll see what we ended up with. So first of all, we'll go around this with the CNC bits, lower this background, and then we'll move on to the resin side of things. Right, we've gone all the way around with the CNC bit. Maybe a little bit too deep, to be honest. It's a good 1/4 of an inch there, and somewhere along here, got ahead of me. Don't know if you can see it. I've lost it myself now. There it is, just one little nick in there. We can work that out. So maybe, yeah, it should have gone around twice and reset it, but we got away with it as it is. Right, just before we put on these straight flush bit, this got double bladed, just to clear out the bulkless, I'm going to pop on one of these mill ending bits. I use this on all my projects. There's the same shaft as the CNC bit, a 3.175mm, so they will fit the same collet that we used before on our router. So you just take the CNC bit out, we'll pop in the biggest mill ending bit we can find. And what I want to do is go around this and just straighten these edges off. Just get a bit more tidier. Get the basic shape. Get into these ones here that we're not going to get in with the big one. And then we'll pop on that flush bit and we'll clear the remainder of the backer. And then we're on to the resin side of things, hopefully. Bit of sanding down, bit of cleaning up. And then we'll move on to the next section. Right, I've gone all the way round with our mill ending bits. I use those bits on all my projects. They really are nice and they're really cheap to purchase. Ideal for clearing out and stuff. So it's leaving us a nice little lip all the way round. To be honest, I've been quite happy to use them mill ending bits to do all this. But as we've got the straight flush bits out, these come in various different sizes. There's a blade at either side, so they cut pretty cool. And all we do is set it to a depth. These are obviously all the same depth. And we just skim off the remainder. These have a nice big 1/4 inch shaft on them, so they'll pop in the rotor as they are. We'll pop this one on first, and then we'll just start remove the back, or the back of this. And then it's just a general tidy up. Okay then, we've gone all the way around with our straight flush bits. They certainly clear it out a lot quicker. However, the finish is not as nice. It's still a bit rough, so we're going to have to go over this with sander. With a mouse sander, just to tidy it all up. And around these edges with a little drum sander. And a bit of Dremel stuff, just to get it generally looking better than what it does now. I'm not too sure what lights we're going to put in here yet. I have some micro lights, little battery LED ones. And also a neon light, plastic neon light, just cheap things off eBay. So once the resin's in and nicely set, we'll put our lights in the back, work out which one's the best one, and then we'll just cut out a little section here, just for the battery pack to go in, and then we'll put a backing on. This would also look nice in front of the window, with the light shining through. But we'll stick with the lights for now. Okay, general tidy up. And then at least we can get all our resin in place and then work out which lights we're going to put inside. I'm just going to try some linseed oil on this first, just to darken this down a little bit. Just normal, just boiled linseed oil, nothing fantastic. And it's just a case of throwing it on. Like so, just to darken this down hopefully, and bring some of that grain back out. We're just going to cover everything like that. You can see how dark that's getting straight away. And then once it's dry, we'll see what it's like. And if it's okay, we'll leave it as it is. Okay, we've left it for a day. That linseed oil's dried nicely, no problem with that. It's brought out that grain nice, so we'll just leave it with that for now and see what it's like once the resin's gone in. Now the resin for me, as always, is amazing clear cast. I use this on all my projects. It comes in two parts, A and B. There's no weighing off, literally done by volume. When I say volume, you mark off your 2 plastic cups. I get these party cups, 100 for next to nothing. So you've got B there, and literally ½ an inch at the bottom, ½ an inch of A. Put B into A and give it a good mix, and that's it. That's that resin done now. 2 or 3 minutes mixing round, and that's as simple as it gets. You have a good 30-40 minutes to work with it. I would vary on more than 30 minutes to be honest, depending on the temperature and how warm it is on the day. So we'll put that to one side for now. Now the way I do this is literally to use the resin as a glue, and I will just coat the top of this snake going all the way around here. Just dabbing it on with a paintbrush if you wanted to. I'll just use the wooden stirrer. I also been known to go out and purchase these cheap plastic knife and forks. They're ideal because you can mix it and they have a little scoop on the end, and that lets you scoop up the resin if you're getting into tighter areas. So for now we're just going to put it on with a stick, and the idea is to coat all this top layer with the resin, and then I use this clear seal book covering. This is really cheap, it's basically like giant sellotape, and we'll cut a piece to suit. Once we've coated that top lip with resin, we'll peel that off and literally stick it to that, turn it the other way around so it ends up like that, all stuck down. Put a bit of weight on there and we'll leave it overnight, and hopefully that will make a nice clear seal on that, and then when we come back the next day we can start topping this up with our coloured resin. Once that's set, another day later, you can actually peel this off, and it peels off really good, and then we can talk about putting our lights in. So for now we've done our mixing of our resin. It's already mixed already. Follow the instructions, always have your gloves on, and literally we just go around now and cover the top of that wood. It's a slow process. There is larger sellotapes out there, you might think you get away with it, but this stuff will, if you can find a space, this stuff will leak into it. The good thing about this resin, once it's on, it does leave a nice shine to it, so you can see where you've been, like so. Okay, I'll go all the way around this. It's a slow process, and then we'll come back when we're ready to pop it on our clear book covering. Okay, you can see from that shine we've gone all the way around our snake. Now it's just a case of popping it onto our clear covering. I've already peeled the back off, and you can peel it off and slide it over the top of that. I prefer to lay mine on the table with the sticky side up, remember. So what we're going to do is flick this over. That resin's gone all the way around, look. And we're just going to press it onto our covering, like so. That's on there now. We'll get some weight on that. There's a little bit of a twist on this wood, but we'll straighten it down with some weight, and we'll literally just leave that overnight like that. In fact, if we turn that over nicely, you'll just see, go over to one side. You can see what we're going for there. That resin is still wet. You've got plenty of time to move it about, tension it up a bit, tighten it up. Do you want to put a bit of board on there, a couple of clamps to hold it on? It's entirely up to you. I just like to go around, make sure it's contact all the way, and then I'll just turn it back over again, and that's it. So that's our little covering. We'll come back tomorrow and we'll start filling the back of this up, and hopefully that is sealed all the way around. Okay, it's the next day. That's all nicely dried now. I don't know if you can just see that film on there. Bit like a drum skin really. And that's hopefully sealed all the way around, so we shouldn't have any leakages. Maybe a little bit at this edge here, but we'll keep an eye on that one. So that's all ready to go now, so we can pop our resin in. And remember, once it's all in, we're going to clamp that down and put a bit of pressure on that, so hopefully that will seal any leakages. And if you have a little leakage, once it's set and cured, you can get basically a little sharp knife and you cut off that bit off the side, and it's no problem whatsoever. Okay, same mixing as before. So remember, we got A and B, which is your resin and your hardener. So it's exactly the same as we did for putting the plastic covering on. And then we're going to throw some colours in. Now what kind of colours, I don't know. We don't want them too strong because the light's not going to shine through it. If that doesn't work out right, then we'll just have a nice resin snake on a piece of wood. So yellows, reds, maybe a green of some description. We'll throw all these in, really go to town on this and just throw it in as we go along and then see what we've ended up with. These are only fun projects of no importance really, to be honest. We're just having fun at the end of the day. So we've mixed up our first little batch here. I've actually used this on a previous project I'm doing before this one, so it's just starting to go a little bit hard now, as you can tell. But still manageable. And all we need to do is drop in our colour. These colours are fantastic. You get them off eBay. Plenty to go at. eBay, Amazon. Just random colours. Don't cost next to nothing. But you don't need a lot in. Literally something like that would be 2 drops. There's 2 drops, and that should be enough. We don't want it too strong, because unfortunately we want to see the light through it. So I'm going to have to take a chance on that really. So there's our red, nicely mixed. Now it's just a case of filling in. I'm just going to go for a red head, leave a bit of a gap, bit of red, leave a little bit gap, and then incorporate yellow in between, and then see how far we get with this one. It's a slow process again, so we'll start at the head, and if you just put a bit in, remember your plastic knife and fork, it's got a nice little scoop on the end here, look. And we don't want a lot, it's just going to be a couple of mil, just enough to make a crust on there. You can pour it straight in from the container, unless you're just going to go like that. Right, we've got that all full, should we say, or what we need. Now we need to just get a lighter and just skim over the top. It's just release any air bubbles that's caught inside. So a little skim just like that. And that'll just clear that nicely. We'll put this to one side now and we'll come back in 24 hours. And we'll see what we've got. It does look a little bit too light with the red, but it's a chance you take until you've done a few of them. It's the first time I've done anything like this with the lights in, so it's a trial and error thing. If it's not too clever, well, let's just have it as it is without the lights in. It's no problem. I'll put a little clamp on that. There's a slight little twist on this wood, so I just want to put a clamp at either corner just to flatten it nice and tight, just to help with them leakages if there is any. And we'll come back tomorrow and we'll see what it looks like. Right, 24 hours later, that all set nicely. You can see from that I started peeling off the polythene, the book covering. That comes off slowly, or you can get yourself an hairdryer and just warm that up, not too much. It will soften the resin behind, but 2 or 3 minutes later, that goes nice and solid again. So you can see the effect we've gone for. Ideally, I would have liked more crispier lines in between, but we're just playing about, so what we see is what we get. So I'll just warm this up a bit more, and then we'll peel off the rest of it. I did say previously there would be a leakage, and I was correct. There's just one there, but we'll cut that off with a little knife. That's no problem. So let's remove the rest of this polythene, and then we'll have another look, see what it looks like. Right, we've peeled all our polythene off. We're ready to put some lights in now. Once it's all fitted and working, I'll spray some of my normal sealant over the top. I tried this on some resin last week and it worked fine. Just to give that little bit of a shine back. You do get areas that have got a bit of tacky to them. Not on this one, funny enough. But you could also get some clear resin and brush over the top. Or, like I say, just spray over. You could actually sand this down if you wanted to, and then put your clear resin over the top. Okay, the lights we're going to use. This actually looks good, if I can just say. In the window like that, you can see how the light's shining through there. So if you didn't want to put LED lights in of any description, you can actually just have it hanging up like so. That's plenty of light coming through there. But anyway, we'll stick with the lights for now. Now there's plenty of different ones out there on the market. You can get these little cork lights. These are really small, literally like so. They weren't bright enough to do what we wanted. You can get battery operated ones with 20 on. These are flashing, so they're no good to me either. The ones I'm going to go for are what the neon lights. These are from eBay, and they come in 1 meter, 3 meters, 5 meters. You can actually just cut the ends off these, cut them to size. I'm just going to leave it as it is. You do really need it dark to see though, and you can have a flashing effect, or really rapid like so. So all I'm going to do now is literally, we'll turn this over, and I'm going to use a router to cut out a box section, just so we can feed the controlling light. So out of the way. The good thing with this one is it's just simply a button at the top. If you've got a side switch or something, you're going to have to work out where you want your switch on the side so you can get to it. But this is a button, so we can just literally just sink that into there. I'll put a board over the backing once we've fed our lights all the way through like so, and then we'll see what we've got. I won't mess about with the routing side of things. My videos are going on just a little bit too long, so right, that's it. This one's finished. Just to finish it off, as always for me, I spray some of this over the top. I just spray it on top of the resin, the wood and everything. Doesn't affect the resin. There is certain polys out there that once you spray on it will send the resin dull. So always practice on a test piece first. Now the wood's still rough and ready, but it's just a shed piece at the end of the day. I didn't want to spend too much time on it, but you will get the general idea. Now the lights are in. We've routed out a hanger to hang it up with. Just 6 little screws and an on and off switch down here. Now you could cut yourself a little square out there and just have 2 little screws in there, just so you can remove that for when you change the batteries and stuff. The good thing about these neon battery lights, they come in different lengths. Like I said previously, you can cut them to fit. They come in different colours. And they also come with a USB plug if you wanted to plug them in to the mains to save yourself with the batteries. But that'll do for me. There it has it. One 20-inch by 8-inch routed out, scroll sawed out, resin filled, light filled snake. Let's wait till night time and we'll switch him on and see what we've got. Thank you very much for watching.